Hello everyone, and happy holidays, and it's time for another video with me, Rays. And today we're talking about FFBE, but specifically, after a long night of working on 7 stars and failing horribly at Odin and helping some people out on Twitch, nearly killing my voice. I've talked about the 7 stars, now I want to talk about the 7 stars super TMRs. Of this new batch of 7 stars, which ones are the best? Which ones have the best super TMRs? Which are the ones you should aim for? If you're on global side, which ones should you be excited about? Well, okay, first of all, global might be different. That's a disclaimer. But what I really want to talk about in this lovely setting right here, where you can see all of my nice 7 stars resting in the snow by a Christmas tree. How very festive, even though it's getting close to New Year's. The big thing I want to talk about is the super TMRs from this set, and something that I have noticed is that, first of all, for the ones I am going to talk about, I'm only going to talk about 3 for my top 3. And the reason I'm only talking about 3 is because after 2 sets, well, okay, technically this is the 3rd batch of 7 stars, but the 2nd batch of super TMRs. So for now, we're just going to call this the new batch of super TMRs. I'm only going to pick 3 because now that we've seen another batch of super TMRs, it's clear that they're all pretty balanced among one another. Yes, there are some standouts, but for the most part, when I see some of them, they actually end up being kind of similar. For instance, last month, I particularly gave Rem a high placement because her super TMR was awesome. This month, even though I have to admit Kanshira has an amazing super TMR, an accessory with 50 attack, 50 magic, and 15% resistance for fire, thunder, water, wind, light, and heart. Captain Planet! Alright, finally got that out of my system. I have to say that I am not the most impressed with it because it feels slightly less big compared to Runeras. Or, I mean, not Runeras. Rems. I think Rems is still better, so that's why even though I have to admit a lot of these super TMRs are really good in their own right, and some of them are just good in certain situations, but still, there are benefits to these super TMRs, and I really like them, but I'm only going to limit my choices to 3 this time. And to be fair, it was kind of difficult. What do I really choose? For one thing, I absolutely love Fire or Ice Knight Laswell's, so let's start with some fire honorable mentions outside of the top 3. 1, because my voice is dying. 2, because are they really that much better? Okay, first of all, Fire or Ice Knight Laswell, 172 attack katana, gives a 50% limit burst fill rate and 10% extra stats from the equipped Esper. Works really well with Laswell's kit. It's a really high attack katana, but is it that much better? 10%. It's good. There's no question that most of these super TMRs are great. They're better than the equipment we have. It's just, it kind of just falls short of the list because we have been seeing a lot of high attack weapons, and it's really hard to get too excited about them anymore. So I am really looking, when I was deciding this list, it was really difficult to pick some. For instance, Ayaka's super TMR is another one that just gets an honorable mention. 12 attack, 166 spirit staff with extra 15% HP and MP. Why does it fall out? It's still just a staff. It doesn't do anything really exciting. Again, it would probably place 4th or 5th on my list, just because It is an incredibly high spirit staff, but it's just kind of stats. But the HP and MP is nice. I'm split on this one, but it falls out of my list, and I'll justify in a minute. And the other one I want to mention is Gladiolus. Now, there are going to see some people who go, what? Why is Gladiolus not on this? Again, this would be 4th or 5th place. The simple fact is that his super TMR, the Materia, 30% to defense, 50% to HP, and 100% bonus defense after HP drops below 80% is fantastic. Really, I mean, but where exactly are you going to be using this? First of all, Gladio himself could use it, but mostly on tanks, and physical tanks only. So it's kind of, while 50% HP and 30% defense, plus a survivability ability. That's fun to say. While all of that is really good for tanks, it really only falls kind of to physical tanks, and maybe some magic tanks could use it too. But I just don't think it is as monumental. It's just more HP, and the simple fact that I've seen is that Wilhelm already kind of has enough HP. Does he really need more? Maybe in the distant future, or hopefully the distant future. But for now, I don't know. This feels kind of like whale bait for having that tank that you can post on Twitter. Look, 30,000 HP. Okay. In general, it's a great materia, but I don't think it falls on this high enough on this list. So let me just double check to make sure that I have thought about this. Yeah, okay. I thought about this. First of all, Yuna. Yuna takes 3rd place. Her robe does fill something interesting that other units do not. Her robe is 32 defense, 44 magic, 78 spirit, 20% to fire, ice, thunder, water resistance, which is very nice, but the skill of increased summon damage 20%. Now, why did I put this so high on the list? Well, for the last month, I've been kind of obsessed with Aiko, and if there was going to be a summoner who was going to pulverize opponents with summon damage, it was going to be Aiko. And given Yuna's kit, while there is improvements to summon damage, Aiko still gets a far amount more of summon damage. And this robe is just another 20% on top of what is gotta be getting to 200% extra summon damage. Just watch. Summons could become very, very powerful in the very near future. I still think we're waiting for Bahamut 2-star for that to happen, but it will happen, and summons will be kind of a crutch again to do a lot of damage quickly. This robe, I would not put on Yuna, I would actually put on Aiko, or possibly Kid Iridia when we see her 7-star, but for now, it's just adding up to something in the future. And that might be what this list really is, potential, more than just hard stats, because we all love seeing those high stats, but I like seeing different tricks. Something that just isn't the Holy Explosion family. Next up on the list at number 2 is Prompto. Yeah, I put Prompto up here. His Super Dress Mastery is a 161 attack, 66 spirit gun with wield 2 weapons. So basically, it is a weapon that gives you dual wield. As far as I know, that is exactly what the skill reads. First of all, extra spirit on an attacker I think is really, 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 really good, you guys. Because normally if an attacker is going to have some survivability, it will be in defense, not spirit. So 66 spirit is actually really kind of nice. That could be potentially useful on some other units. But also 161 attack is kind of big for a gun. It's bigger than what we're seeing in the differences in katanas, where we've seen a lot of different katanas now and a lot of different greatswords in the Super TMR category that are 170 range, but guns haven't got that yet. And in general, wield 2 weapons. Just dual wield on a weapons? If that is exactly the way I'm reading it, that's kind of just awesome. That could be useful to anyone who can hold a gun. And with Ballfair's Super TMR of giving some extra damage to gun users as well as some extra damage to machines, hey, I actually really like this a lot. Now, who do you think number 1 is? Now, I've talked about a lot of different units, and if you know anything about me, you'll know that I love Dragoons. Oh yes, it is a Dragoon that takes number 1 spot on this list because I believe in miracles. And let me start with, oh, you sexy thing, we're actually going to change over. Thank you to Reddit for this. Aranea takes the first spot for the most valuable TM. Now, if you remember last month, I gave it to Squall because Squall's Super TMR was limit burst damage. And it's a simple amount, it's just a simple fact of, well, there are 2 things that make this decision. Percentages and, in general, well, okay, I'm a little bit split on putting this at number 1, but I'm giving it to Aranea for, excuse me, one very simple reason. And that's the fact that her Super Trust Mastery is 25% accuracy, 100% to attack when two-handing a weapon, plus a 30% extra attack with lances. Lance users kind of really, how do I put this? I'm having second thoughts about this. I really thought that the reason that I put this so high is because there aren't many options for true dual hand at this point. And seeing 100% attack when equipped when two-handing, plus 30% attack when equipped with a lance. And you're just sitting there like, oh god, he's gone off his deep end. Actually, I don't think I have. Not quite. I will admit that this seems to be a puzzling choice. But let me try and explain. There's a very popular unit right now called CG Hayu. And, well, CG Hayu can equip lances. I had to do a double check on that, but I was pretty sure I was right. And there happens to be another unit, Nao and Naru. Now, the biggest problem with true dual hand units is that they don't have an element, particularly when it comes to this guy. His big 2 elements are fire and lightning. Well, what is Nao and Naru's? And I'm just going to pull this up really, really quickly, because I didn't think I was going to make this point at the start, but, well, I'm committed now. Switch back over for a second. Nao and Naru. Nao and Naru's Super Trust Mastery is a two-handed 175 attack thunder element plus 50% accuracy, damage variance of 1 to 1.5 times. 1 to 1.5 is acceptable, 50% accuracy is wonderful, but the fact is that this is a thunder element spear, which is perfect for Hayu because what does he debuff? But lightning. And there are lots of thunder greatsword. Well, there's a really good thunder greatsword that you could stick on any holy explosion chainer. This basically completes a problem that I've been seeing for a while. CG Hayu has the ability to double cast abilities while being a true dual hand. That's the first piece of the puzzle. Second hand, he can debuff certain elements and chain with Holy Explosioners as well. That's amazing. He has a super hard-hitting Limit Burst, which debuffs elements. The only thing that he has been missing for the longest time is support for having something like a Thunder element to his attacks. And why get an imbuner like Ignis will be when you can simply just use Nal and Naru and Aranea's Super TMR. And so this is my thought process behind this. This is why I am putting Aranea's particularly high, because for one thing, there isn't enough true dual hand materias yet. There really isn't. The other thing is that this actually works perfect with Nal and Naru, but not with Aranea. It actually is the missing component to CG Hayu, and could make CG Hayu just insane. Now, of course, that is a problem of taking away his great sword. And again, this might feel a little bit like whale bait, but I really want to believe in this. Not sure. But I think this is a benefit to true dual hand true dual hand spear users. It is a extra 30% on top, which percentages always feel more valuable than just raw stats. So I'm going to stick with this, even though I really don't feel super great about this decision. Maybe I would put Aranea's a little bit lower. Actually, you know what? Yes, let's change the verdict on that. I'm going to really quickly change my verdict, because I thought about it, and it's not as solid of a plan as I originally thought when I remembered. Yeah, he does get a lot of bonuses from great swords, doesn't he? Shit. All right, so I still think Aranea's is particularly valuable because there really aren't many true dual hands, especially something that gives extra to spears like herself, or Nal and Naru, who is kind of underappreciated. So yes, gonna change my vote. Nal and Naru Aranea's in third, Yuna's in second, and Prompto's in first, so good for Prompto. Let's actually bring up, we have a Prompto in here that we could show off. So the winner of this batch of Super TMRs for me is probably Prompto, just because true dual hand seems nice. There he is. All right. So that's it for this video, and I will see you all in the next video. Hopefully I can I got a lot of videos coming up in the future.